Hello again. In this video we're going to talk about how to capture mouse events. So we've looked at how to draw things, we've looked at how we can use images in various ways, but we haven't really made our custom drawn panels interactive. We saw in the last chapter how we could take the built-in components and make them interactive by doing things like listening to, or well, either by putting the actions on a button or listening to things like the selections on a list view. Those are things that we can do through the standard GUI libraries. When we're working with a panel though, the only things that we're going to get are the raw mouse and keyboard events. And so in this video I want to look at how we can deal with those raw mouse events. So I'm going to start yet another little program. Our others have gotten a bit large. So let's import swing, and I feel fairly confident that I'm going to need Java auth color. Let's also import event because we're definitely going to need that. I will make a panel. I will make a frame. The panel, we will override def paint. And set the preferred size to be, I'm actually going to go a little bit bigger this time. The frame, give it a title, and center it on the screen. To make sure that's all happy. And sure enough, we get a window, it pops up. Okay, now what I would like to do is I just want to be able to first get the mouse data. So I want this panel to listen to what's happening with the mouse. And all of the panels and whatnot have a publisher in them that there is an object called mouse, and it has three different publishers inside of it. There is mouse.clicks, mouse.moves, and mouse.wheel. Now quite honestly, I don't care about the wheel events, but I wouldn't mind listening to mouse clicks and mouse moves. And if we go to the API and we look at the various events, let me go to the Scala API. And if I scroll down here a bit, so let's just look in panel, and so that we can see inside of the panel that there is the object called mouse. And if we click on mouse, there are three publishers: clicks, moves, and wheel. And each one of those publishes different types of events, and if you go down and you look in the events, you can fairly easily figure out what they publish. There's all of these different mouse events. Mouse clicked, that is what you get when the mouse goes down and back up in one location. A mouse pressed is just the down part, a mouse released is the up part. All of those are come from mouse clicks. The mouse moves, well, if the mouse while it is down gets moved around, that's a mouse dragged. There is also a mouse moved if it gets moved while it's open. Clicks also gives you things for entered and exited, so every time that the mouse comes into the area and whenever it exits it, we'll wind up using those in just a bit. And then there's an event for the wheel. So what do I want to do here in this program? Well, just to make sure that we can get things, reactions plus equals, I would like to, how about we just do a fairly simple thing where I'm going to have, I click and I can drag around and I can make a line and then I can do it again and again and again. Yeah, that sounds fairly simple for drawing different things. So our reactions, I want a case for an event of the type mouse pressed. Turns out that to do this I don't want mouse clicked, I want pressed, I want released, and I want dragged. And in order to get all three of these I have to be listening to mouse clicks and mouse moves, because mouse clicks gets the pressed and the released, but the mouse moves gets the drags. And so what I would like to do is have it so that when the mouse goes down, I start kind of recording where it was, and I'm going to use another feature of the java.awt.geom called the general path. And so a general path allows you to build up a path, basically a line. We're going to use the empty constructor, and from the path2d we get the ability to call move to and line to, and there are a number of other methods, and you can go look in the API to find those. I also need to have something that keeps track of all of my general paths so far. So I'm going to go ahead and make a let's make a list. I'll call it paths, and of course for that to work okay. And so this starts off empty. I want to make it so my paint method, this will be fairly simple, g dot, I want to clear out the background, set paint to color dot white, g dot fill, rectangle 2D dot double 0 0, comma size dot width, size dot height, another close, g dot set paint. Right now I'm going to, well, let's see, instead of making this so it's just, I'll go with just making everything in black. It's not that exciting, but you can figure out, I'll leave it up to the viewer to figure out how you could extend this. Maybe make this a list of tuples so you had both a path and a color, and then the problem is then you have to add in some more GUI elements for setting those things. And for path in paths, g dot draw path. So when it's empty, nothing gets drawn. And I want to do one other thing in here, var current path equals a new general path. Okay. And then let's also draw that path. It won't be on the list yet. Current path g dot draw. So what happens when you press down? Well, when you press down, I want to do a move to, which just basically puts the drawing point at a particular location, e.point.x. So if we look in the API and you go to, we're in the Scala API, if you go to, for example, a mouse, we're in mouse pressed here, it has inside of it a point, and that point has an x and a y value. So you could, it's using the point from the Java libraries. And then e.point.y, and that's it for that. While you're dragging, current path dot line to e.point.x, e.point.y, and when you release, I'm going to do another line to. In addition to that, I am going to say that paths cons equals current path, and current path equals new general path. Okay, so we're going to add what we have been building onto into the paths, and then we're going to create a new one so that we can start drawing it. And let's see how many errors I made in typing that in. Nope, I did that double comma thing again. And apparently that was it. Did I set my color to black? I'm not seeing anything. I'm clicking and dragging. Now, when you get a bug like this, the question is, well, what's going on? I got no feedback whatsoever. And I could have an error in any of these things here, and I wouldn't necessarily know it. So, to help figure this out, I am going to come down here and I want to put just a line so that we can tell when the mouse goes down. Okay, that looks like that is working. Oh, I know exactly what was wrong. Watch this, this will be funny. Click, drag, 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 click, drag, 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 click, drag, drag, drag. Resize window. I forgot to repaint. Okay, so I would like for each one of these, after it does what it is doing, to go ahead and do a repaint. Now if I run this, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. Okay. Hey, look at this. I can almost have a little paint program here. I could, if I change the stroke, if I change the paint settings, we could do all types of things, and the user is just able to draw little curves. An interesting exercise for the student would be to add onto the GUI a list view over here and have it so that this list view gets one element for every single path, and then have options for removing, so that you could click on some of the things and have those be removed. You could also make it so that the ones that are clicked on are drawn in different colors. And then of course you could have buttons and make things come out in different colors. There's lots of ways that you could go with this. But hopefully this illustrates to you how we can listen to the things that take our mouse input, and then how we can set up cases for some of the different things that you want to have. Another standard example that I often use is to have like some image and have the image chase around the mouse. And so if you listen to mouse moved, you can have it so the image moves to the location of the last mouse moved. But this will be sufficient for this example, and we'll come back in the next video and we'll look at how we get keyboard input as well.